first thing I'll say is I challenge that there might be a founder here in the audience that's going to do something big. It's like the birthday paradox, right? Like there's absolutely the chance that someone in this room here today will be the CEO, CTO, founder of like one of the world's most changing companies in the next 10 years. We live in a really special place where people get to work on ideas, where failure is tolerated. If you travel overseas to other places, there's a reason why Silicon Valley is so different, and it's because failure is tolerated. I realized that I loved doing lots of different stuff. It's not that I loved technology, it was that I loved doing lots of different stuff. So I went to boarding school, and I was the guy hanging an antenna outside of my dorm room window to do a pirate radio station. I was designing flyers for dances, I was DJing, I just love doing a lot of different things. And when I read required reading in school, our junior year was this book called The New Thing, kind of the Netscape saga, right? I read that and I said to myself, this feels like an area of the world I can come to and be myself and do lots of different things and see what sticks. A little schizophrenic in how I treat different ideas and go from thing to thing, but that's kind of the ethos of an entrepreneur. To teach myself Ruby on Rails, and I was like, this is going to be a really awesome skill. So I learned that, learned about databases, and learned enough to be dangerous. And this is like one of the lessons in entrepreneurship, is that you don't have to be the best, but you have to be dangerous. You have to learn just enough to be dangerous to build an idea, concept it, and show it to the world. And then it turns out there are lots of other people, including all 170 employees that work at Instagram, who are much better at doing all that stuff than I am. But you need to find people who can, be drawn to the idea that you build, and then they end up taking it and making it even better. I think everyone's experience is different. Everyone in this room has to take the idea that there is a perfect next move and throw it out the window. There's no perfect next move. I had the privilege of going to a Marine base once and talking to Marines about how they plan their next move. There's this phrase called bias towards action. The idea that you can spend all of your time thinking about what the perfect next move is, trying to plan, am I going to work at Google? Am I going to work at Microsoft? Which one? McKinsey or Bain? The next perfect move, and spending a tremendous amount of time trying to figure that out. The Marines say you can spend all the time you want, but by the time you figured it out, you're dead. So sometimes you need to make a trade-off of what is the action I can take with the appropriate amount of information and risk to move. Because moving and progress is what gets us to the next step. By moving and learning, it all adds up. That summation of your experience over the last N years is what makes you into the thing tomorrow that will be successful. All the other jobs that I had offered, there were 2 or 3, a couple at a startup, one at Microsoft, one at Google. I took the lowest salary of any of the offers that I had because I wanted to work in a specific job at Google. I didn't care what job it was actually, I just cared that it was at Google and I would surround myself by amazing people. And that was the first lesson that I learned, is go to where the people are. Short-term, long-term trade-offs, just go to where the people are. Being at Google and going to Corp Dev was an interesting move because I was like, I want to be near startups again. I learned a lot about startups in school, but I want to be back in the startup world. And then 2008 happened. And I'm not sure how many people remember 2008 in this room. The economy kind of went to crap. I remember looking at my boss and being like, okay, so can we buy this company? He's like, nope. Can we buy this company? Nope. One of them, and I won't even name the name, but it was a really interesting company, ended up doing really well. I wish we had purchased it. But the thing is, he was like, we're actually not going to do many deals now. You should probably just go golfing. And for a 20-something-year-old thinking to themselves, I want to make a difference in the world, and your boss is telling you to go golfing, maybe I should just leave. So I did, and there's a chapter in between Google and Bourbon that not many people know about, but I ended up joining a startup of some ex-Google folks called Nextstop. Hugely transformational for me because it's where I cut my teeth learning to program, learning to build a site, and everything I learned in that year at Nextstop before starting Bourbon was actually it made me ready to go do Bourbon. So again, every move you think needs to be perfect. It turns out just surround yourself by great people where you can learn the most and great things will happen. But I didn't go golfing, and that's rule number 2.